Have you ever stopped to think about what makes a classroom, well, truly life-changing? It often boils down to this one really powerful force: expectations. Today, we're going to dig into how an environment built on high expectations doesn't just teach kids, it completely changes how they see themselves and what they believe is possible for their future. Okay, let's just jump right in with this quote from Bonnie Baynard because it really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just about demanding good grades. It's about the relationships that send a powerful message. I believe in you. And that belief, that's what builds the stuff that really matters. Resilience, confidence, and just a basic optimism about life. This is the why behind everything else we're going to talk about. So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, it all circles back to a fascinating psychological idea you might have heard of, the Pygmalion effect. The basic idea is that what we believe about someone can actually shape their behavior. It becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Right, and there was this famous study back in 1968 by Rosenthal and Jacobs that really drove this home. What they found is that students are incredibly good at picking up on what a teacher truly thinks of them. They sense those expectations, even the unspoken ones, and those cues can literally shape their performance, for better or for worse. It actually becomes their reality.
And listen, this isn't some kind of magic that just happens. The best educators, as researcher Robert Marzano points out, are super intentional about this. They don't leave it to chance. They consciously and deliberately build and communicate high expectations for every single student, no matter where they're starting from.
All right, let's move on and figure out what this environment actually looks like. What is a high expectations environment? The most important thing to get is that this isn't a dictatorship, it's a partnership, it's a total two-way street. At its core, you can think of this whole environment as a constant dance between opportunity and response. The teacher's job is to provide the opportunity to do challenging, meaningful work, and the student's job? To respond to that challenge. Both people have a really clear, vital role to play. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It really is a shared responsibility. The teacher brings the rigorous content, they hold that high standard. And in return, the student steps up to meet the challenge and, this part's huge, they keep going, they persevere, even when it gets hard. It's like a pact between them. And that perseverance doesn't mean you have to be all alone. In fact, a huge part of these environments is that students are pushed to work together. They lean on each other to figure out problems that would probably feel way too big to tackle by themselves. So we've got the what and the why. But what's it actually feel like to be a student in one of these classrooms? Let's try to step into their shoes for a second and see what that journey to mastery really looks like. We're not talking about just sitting there and listening. Students are actively wrestling with the material. They're not just trying to memorize facts. They're trying to apply what they've learned, hitting those inevitable roadblocks, figuring out how to get past them, and then, eventually, getting to a place where they can come up with their own ideas. That struggle isn't a bad sign. It's actually the engine that drives real learning. And it's not just an internal thing. You can see it on the outside, too. You see students huddled up, working in teams, actually solving problems. They can even explain what the point of the lesson is, the learning objectives, to someone else. And that right there is a huge sign that they truly get it.
Okay, now let's completely switch our point of view. Let's say you're a coach or a principal or just a fly on the wall. You walk into a room, what are the actual, tangible signs you can look for that tell you, yep, this is happening here?
Honestly, the evidence is all over the place if you know what to look for. You'll literally see examples of great work up on the walls, things like rubrics. You'll hear the teacher asking these big, chewy, open-ended questions, not just what year was it? And maybe most importantly, you'll hear the students asking their own questions to get clarity and making connections between this lesson and, other classes or things in their own lives. So here is a really critical question for anyone observing a classroom. Are kids just flying through worksheets trying to get done? Or is there this quiet hum of kids working with real focus, deliberation, and effort? That second one, that's the real sign of rigor. Speed is not the goal here. That productive struggle is. And that brings us to our final piece, and maybe the most useful tool of all. If you really want to know if a high expectations environment is thriving, don't just watch the teacher. Go talk to the students. There are 3 key questions that will tell you everything you need to know. First up, ask this. If a student can actually tell you what part of the assignment is difficult for them, that's a great sign. It means 2 things. 1, the work is actually challenging,
And 2, the student is engaged enough to know where the challenge is. If they just say, I don't know, it's easy, the bar might be set too low. Okay, question 2 gets at something deeper. It tests for connection. Can the student link this new stuff to things they already know? A good answer here shows you they're not just collecting random facts, they're actually building a web of knowledge in their minds. And finally, number 3 is all about clarity. Do the students know what they're aiming for? If they can describe what an A-plus version of the project looks like, it means the teacher has done an amazing job of showing them the target. They're not just working in the dark. So you see, it all ties together. The things you observe in the classroom, the answers you get to these questions, they are the direct result of that big idea we started with. They're the living proof that a teacher's high expectations are actively building a student's belief in their own ability.
And that really leaves us with one last thought to chew on. This whole idea isn't just for classrooms. It's for parenting, it's for coaching a team, it's for leading a group at work. So the real question for every one of us is, what's one small thing you could do tomorrow to raise the bar and show someone you truly believe in their potential?